Why Donald Trump has been given the reassurance of not buying Russian oil. What happens to our autonomy as well as affordability, and what is it? Is it global pressure or global politics? Just when India and US were resuming their trade talks, President Donald Trump has dropped a bomb saying that PM Modi has given him reassurance that they will not buy Russian oil. Is this real? And if it is, what lies in here for India and for the global geopolitics? Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and today we are going to understand that why Russian oil is an important component for Indian economy as of now, how this reassurance might backfire for India, and what lies in terms of geopolitics as well as affordability and autonomy for India. So let us start by understanding that what has been the claim. So President Donald Trump has gone ahead and claimed that our Prime Minister loves him, and he has been given a reassurance by our Prime Minister that they will not be buying Russian oil anymore. He has also asserted on the fact that it will not happen immediately for India. It is a process and it will take time to implement it, but there is a sure guarantee that India will stop buying Russian oil, and which will help in stopping the Russian-Ukraine war. Donald Trump has also very subtly highlighted that he doesn't want to ruin the political career of our Prime Minister. That means there is a hint of threat while he's been telling that there has been reassurance. And we should not forget that this is coming after when US has already imposed 50% tariff on us for buying Russian crude oil. So now to understand this better, that why this is such an important thing, why this reassurance is a big thing, let us look at India's oil import profile. To understand why this matters so much, we have to understand the fact that as of now, Russian oil is core of India's energy security policy, especially since the Russia-Ukraine war has begun, because we get crude oil on discounted prices. And if India has actually given the reassurance, then it is not only going to affect our economy, that means the affordability that we have with it, but it is also going to show that there is an impact on global markets and the Western sanctions strategy is working. To understand this in better detail, now let us look at India's oil profile. So if you look at India's oil imports since 2023, you will see that almost 2 million barrels per day are coming from Russia as compared to other suppliers, which clearly highlights that we have been importing from Russia no matter what US's stance has been, and no matter what amount of US pressure or Western sanction pressure has been. That makes Russia our largest crude supplier, especially for last 3 years. In this scenario, it becomes important for us to understand what kind of import dependency we are in. We are in terms of crude oil, we are an import dependent nation. Approximately 85% of our oil demand is met through imports. That means 4.7 million barrels per day we have to take from outside country, and Russia here had a share less than 2% in 2021. Now it is approximately 35 to 36% in 2025. So at present, if you look at it, we are importing 1.8 million barrels per day from Russia, and this is the present stat that we have. And this is not happening just because we have a partnership with them. This is an economic advantage that we are enjoying, that we are getting it on a discounted rate, and the discount is almost of between $15 to $25 per barrel that we are getting. So this puts us at an economic advantage given the quantity we are getting from Russia and the discount that we are getting from Russia here. Now this will give you a clear picture into why Russian oil is important for us. Furthermore, to understand this in more detail, let us break it down. That why India is buying Russian oil. Let us put it in numbers. So if you see in terms of savings, we have been, if you look at the financial year 2023, almost $5,000 million have been saved. If you talk about the current financials, we get to see it is above $2,000 million. So this gives a clear insight that it is not just about what partnership or how long of a partner Russia has been for India, but at this point of time, this discount plays an important role not just in energy security, but also controlling inflation in our country. So all of a sudden, if we are about to cut this supply, we will have effects economically, and that effect will trickle down to the ground level. That is going to affect the common people as well. That is why this statement is not just about geopolitics, it is also about common people living inside India who need to understand that such huge remarks can come down to affect their life. India has been pretty clear on this, that we will buy oil from wherever it comes cheapest to us, because that is the fundamental of consumption driven economics, and India wants to take its decision based on its affordability as well as autonomy, not based on pressure and geopolitics that are going around. And that is exactly what Western nations do not want. Western nations wanted to use oil as a geopolitical tool to make sure that countries work in their favor or in their direction, which has not been working out. But later, then tariffs were also brought in as geopolitical tool, which has been grounding the pressure more. So probably this reassurance might have been the result of the tariffs which have been put up by US. But this clearly shows that India, when it is buying Russian oil, it is not only because of the partnership, it is because of the economics in different parameters, and it has also a direct impact on the electoral politics that we see in our country as well. So when we are buying from Russia, we get cost advantage, we get payment flexibility. That means when we are buying from Russia, we are not dependent on US dollars. We don't need it. We can make the payment in rupees, we can make the payment in dirhams, we can make the payments in yuan, and that means our dollar exposure is reduced. That means our foreign exchange reserves maintain themselves, and the demand for dollar will not also affect the strength of rupee. Furthermore, it directly facilitates energy security that we have discussed. Refinery efficiency. If you see that Indian refineries over these years, they have gradually reconfigured their plants so that they can optimize especially Ural crudes which are coming from Russia. So here we are getting productivity, cost advantage, flexibility, and if India has reassured US that they will stop buying Russia oil even in phased manner, it is going to take away all these advantages. Now let us understand in detail what will be the direct consequences if we stop buying Russian oil. We were talking about economics, let us understand the economic impacts. So when we are talking about economic impacts, automatically our import bill will increase because we are getting discount on Russian crude oil. We won't be availing that if you are not buying Russian crude oil, and that's when the crude bill will increase. And the dependency on dollar will also increase. Once the prices of the oil that we are buying increases, obviously that will trickle down to the consumer's level as well. That means there might be inflationary pressure. That means every barrel almost will be expensive by $10, and that means there might be an added inflation of 0.4 to 0.5%. It can also directly impact our current account deficit. When we are talking about current account deficit, can you tell me in the comment section which are the things that are considered in the balance of payment when we are talking about current account? Now, when we are talking about current account deficit, that means when we are exporting goods and services, that is lesser, and we are importing more. As of now, current account deficit is somewhere around 1.3%. And if this Russian oil goes away from our import oil, then it might go up to 2.1% of GDP. So if our current account deficit increases, that is a problem. because our import bills are higher than export bills. Then we would have to use our foreign exchange reserves, and that again puts a pressure on the rupee itself. Apart from that, if we are talking about direct economic impacts, we will also get to see fiscal impacts. How fiscal impacts? So fuel subsidies which are presently given by the government, they would need to be higher and in order to stabilize the prices. For example, if we are saying fuel is for 100 rupees and the subsidy is of 10 rupees, just a hypothetical example. But because we are not buying Russian crude oil, this price goes to 110 rupees. Then the government has to make sure that they are giving 20 rupees of subsidy in order to keep the price same, because they would have to offset this, and this will directly cost government almost 40 to 50,000 crore worth of fiscal burden. And as I said, it will go ahead to impact the rupee strength, which will directly reflect in terms of our exchange rate. When we will increase dollar payment, it will weaken the rupee. When we will demand dollar more, it will weaken the rupee. When the current account deficit increases, it will weaken the rupee. So there will be a direct impact that we will be seeing on our exchange rate as well. Now let us talk about when we are considering that India might stop buying Russian oil, then what will be the repercussions, not just economically but on the global level, rather I would say diplomatically. So when we are talking about India-US dimension, here US since the start wanted India to pressurize into a situation where it stops buying Russian oil. So this is where US might get the alignment that it has been seeking, and in return we might get the tariff relief, or we might get defense technology access, which is an advantageous situation for us. But here for this alignment, we would have to compromise on our autonomy and we would have to give into the pressure of Western sanctions. This can definitely help India to integrate with US-led supply chains and also have a strong foothold in Indo-Pacific networks. But this will come with a compromise, because we will be letting go of the Russian partnership that we have had for such a long time, because Russia sees us not just as a buyer but as a stable buyer and has always considered India as a strategic friend. So if we are curtailing the oil imports, Russia may want to take away the other benefits or the other cooperation that we have been having from them, and this will automatically push Russia to pivot more towards China and Pakistan, because two major countries who are buying Russian crude oil as of now are India and China, and India would not be at an advantageous position if Russia pivots better towards China and Pakistan, which both are India's adversaries. Furthermore, when we are talking about the global geopolitics, India has been championing and labeling itself as the leader of global south, and when it will give in to the pressure of Western sanctions and it will be aligning with Western nations, it will directly weaken India's narrative and also its image. So here the costs are really big before we actually commit something to US for trade talks or for tariff relief. We have to weigh, we have to balance, because this is not just a diplomatic tightrope, it is also a very highly economically sensitive matter. You might think what India is going to do. There are many options that India has. India can gradually phase down, which is being reassured as per Donald Trump's statement. There is an option of immediate halt, which is going to signal direct political alignment, which is going to bring a lot of economic as well as geopolitical repercussions. But the scenario C, which is the quiet continuation, which India has been doing for long to balance the global leaders, to balance the global parties. That means we can continue importing that too via third-party traders, and that helps us in maintaining ambiguity, preserving autonomy and avoiding open defiance, while keeping our economic interests at the primary place. Now that was all from my side. I'll leave you with a practice question here. You can put down your answers in the comment section and also let me know your thoughts on the commitment that has been given to President Donald Trump by our Prime Minister. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.